Hi, everyone. Welcome to Talk All About It with Cynthia. And I'm so glad that you're here with us today. We are talking today with Eating with a Smile. And we're talking affirmations. We're talking meditation. We're talking all sorts of fun, amazing things. So I'm going to have Eden join us, and then we're going to get started. Hopefully because Eden is going to lead us in a meditation, which I'm really looking forward to. I'm kind of setting up here a little bit. And
There we go.
she is.
How are you?
I'm good, Eden. How are
I'm
you?
doing great. Thanks. Hello, everybody.
Hi, everyone. Come on in. I see Summit's Edge. I see Kennedy K22. I see your neighborhood. Psych, hi. Welcome, welcome. So, Eden, I'm so excited to have you with us today. Yay,
So
yay,
am
yay.
I.
And I'm going to have you introduce yourself, and then I'm going to share with everybody how I came across your lovely page, and then we
Okay.
can kind of get started.
Sure. So my name is Eden, and you'll see me online as Eden with a Smile. I am an entrepreneur. I'm a business consultant. And actually, you know what? Let me change that start because I have this thing about when people ask us who we are, we
Yeah.
talk about what we do rather than
Mm-hmm.
who we are. So
Yeah.
let me talk about sort of who I am first, who I
Thank
be,
you for
right?
that. Yes, yes,
Be rather than
yes.
doing. So for be, I am a Black woman proudly. I don't know if you can tell. Okay, I'm a Black woman proudly who loves the beach, who loves plants, as you might be able to
I
see
do see
over
it.
my shoulder, um, who loves the
Mm-hmm.
sun. Thus, my sunshine shirt for the day.
Mm-hmm.
And I am a mom of a millennial, and a lot of what I do with the affirmations really has to do with thinking of her sometimes. Also, and thinking of myself, frankly. But so that's who I be, and I'm a person who wants to be a healing and hopeful, peace-filled presence in this
Mm-hmm.
world.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want to be. What I do is I'm a business consultant.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What I do is I connect people with other people with resources, and it really can be any area, and I build community. Some people call that minister, and I'm also a minister, but I don't lead with that because one, people to whom the term matters don't interact authentically with me as a result, and people to whom the term doesn't matter, it really doesn't make a difference, right? So I don't leave and say, oh, I had this experience as well. So that's really who I am and what I do.
Thank you for the distinction because you're right. So often we do lead with what we do instead of who we are.
Hmm.
And I think how I came across your page was because of who you are, right? And it was, I don't even know how I got connected with you, but that's the thing I love about social
Hmm.
media is that, we get connected to so many great people, but it just kept on, you just kept coming on my timeline.
Oh,
Right. And you would always have, something, and I would stop and just listen and then I would breathe with you. And then the next day, the same thing, right? And so, like, you start doing that often, and it just becomes like a pattern, right?
that's awesome.
That
Thank
happens. And I
you.
was like, "Who is this lady? Oh my gosh!" She has such a calming effect on with her, right? So
Thank
then
you.
obviously I came to your page. I kind of just scrolled through, and I just
Yeah.
kind of just admired how you show up on social media, so
Thank you.
authentically and so and it's so simple, Eden, but so
Hmm.
powerful with
Hmm.
what you're doing.
It
So
truly
powerful.
is. Truly is simple. It's interesting because one of the things about how I got started was back in 2020 when we were in the lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
It was very clear to me
Yeah.
that people wanted to connect with other
Yeah.
people. It was just such a difficult time. People were super fearful, right? Because we really
Yeah.
didn't know what was happening. We had never experienced anything like that in our
Yeah.
lifetime. And it was clear that people were looking and hungry for someone who would just say, hey, listen, it's going to
Yeah.
be okay. Hey, listen, we're going to get through it. I know it's scary, but it's going to be
Yeah.
okay. And I really was supposed to start my affirmations back then.
Mm.
I really was.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. That's my automatic,
Oh,
thing from my iPhone.
it was good what you were saying.
But I got intimidated because I followed Tabitha Brown long before people knew the big Tabitha Brown. I followed her when she was just doing vegan things in her kitchen with a half broken spoon called Kenya, right? I knew, and just to see her blow up in that time, why? Because she was needed,
She
right?
was
That was
connected.
needed. I
Yeah.
got intimidated, so I
Yeah.
just backed off. I'm like, well, Tabitha Brown's doing all this, so I'm just going to back off. So I sort of let it go for a while. But
Yeah.
then it just still sat with me. It just was something in me that just said, this
Yeah.
is needed. And
Yeah.
so I was doing something where I was going to get a digital marketing certificate that worked with churches at the
Mhm.
time. And I went to create a website. I was mocking up a website about it, which is how a ministry I founded called Between Churches for people who
Mm.
are deconstructing their faith,
Mm.
decolonizing their faith, decapitalizing their faith.
Mm. Mhm.
Um, I just was going to create a little website, fake the stuff so I could get the certificate.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
But when I did it, some people call him God, some people call source, some
Mm.
people just say divine. I just had a download that said, this is really big.
Mhm.
This is really big. And it had me sober up about what I was
Yeah.
doing and become more thoughtful and mindful
Mm.
of what really was I looking to do. I do want to build a community of people who have been judged and chastised
Mm.
and criticized and made fun of and disregarded,
Yeah.
particularly in the areas of spiritual practice and faith.
Yeah.
I want to have a soft place for them to land.
Mm.
I want to have a place where they can ask questions without judgment.
Mm.
I want a place where they feel affirmed because everybody else is telling them what you're doing and you're going to hell.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
we're
Right.
not, I just couldn't do that. So out of that,
Mm.
the affirmation started to come about. And it started it would be last year
Mm.
on January 27th was the first affirmation I
Wow.
did. Now, people ask me, well, you're nervous doing it? No. I did a lot of crazy things during the lockdown. I was doing game nights dressed in costume. Being on,
Yes.
on camera
Yes.
was not going to intimidate me
Right.
to
Right.
just say something for 15 seconds,
Yeah.
right? And it was good to see people,
Mm.
affirm that. I
Mm.
I, I wasn't going to look at numbers. I'm trained to look at numbers. I'm a
Mm.
data nerd, both in my business and in understanding digital marketing.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to look at numbers
Mm.
because I didn't want to be distracted from
Mm.
inspired and hopeful messages for people.
Yeah.
And that's really how that came about. And each day, my process really is I sit down, I quiet myself, and I say, what do you want me to say today?
Mm.
What should I share today?
Yeah.
And then either something will come because of a situation I'm in. Well, what do you need
Mm.
for an affirmation And let
Yeah.
me tell you, I'm about to post today's affirmation, and it has to do with challenges I'm facing,
Yeah.
right? And how I'm looking at those situations and how I'm going to affirm myself in the midst of those challenges.
Mhm.
And I hope that that resonates with other people, that they too can then affirm themselves when they encounter challenges.
Yeah.
So that's really how things kind of got started.
And we're so glad you did get started because in all honesty, like I'm on social media a lot, and
Mm-hmm.
yours, whenever it comes, it is like a warm hug, right? Or
Oh,
just like a
thank
gentle
you.
reminder,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
it's just like the pause. And my favorite part really is the breathing, because
Awesome.
it could be like maybe the first time in anyone's day where they just like intentionally breathe, right?
Absolutely.
As a therapist, I'm constantly encouraging my clients to breathe,
Mm-hmm.
but we don't intentionally stop and
Mm-hmm.
breathe unless
Mm-hmm.
we're
You're
told
right.
to, right? Or unless we're the our our Apple Watches reminds us to.
Right.
So
You're
I
absolutely
love that part of it
right.
too. That just, and you
Mm-hmm.
always, without fail, remind
Mm-hmm.
us to breathe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That and that comes from being a mom of a young
Yes.
woman who had her own mental health
Mm,
challenges at a point in time.
mm,
And,
yeah.
anxiety, she's had anxiety. I'm not going to say too much more. I
Yeah.
think I'm free to
Yeah.
say that
Yeah.
because that's her
For
story.
sure.
It's not, it's our story, but it's her story. I don't want
Yeah.
to
I
say too
respect
much
that.
more. But the first thing is when I see the anxiety rising is, okay, let's take a breath. Let's take a breath. Let's just take a moment
Yeah.
before we go into, reciting off all the things that are happening or all of the things that are stimulating or
Yeah.
overstimulating us. Let's just pause and take a
Yeah.
breath. And, at times I do it with her now and she's still over 30. Okay. So I still do it, let's just take a
Let's
moment.
breathe. Yeah.
Let's take a breath. And she'll sit there and I can see she's not breathing. She's holding I say,
Mm.
okay, I don't see you breathing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really why the breath became connected to the affirmation, because we need to take a moment
Yeah.
to just breathe.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. As people are coming in, I
Hi,
want you to kind of share your
everybody.
experiences with how you came across um, Smile with Eden, because I feel like there's always a story of how someone gets
Mhm.
connected to your page, and so I think it would be
Oh,
fun to
awesome.
kind of read people's experiences and things like
Yeah.
that. But can we talk a little bit about why affirmations, right? You could have
Hmm.
just had words pop up. You could have just had
Hmm.
like a funny skit or something like that. But why
Yeah.
did you choose to focus on affirmations
It's really,
specifically?
you hold your breath all the time.
Yeah.
I get that. I get that.
And
And it is difficult.
it's also there's a scientific reason why we do that,
Oh,
right?
okay.
Right?
Okay.
And
Yeah.
so the fact that you hold your breath is not a bad thing.
Hmm.
It's just that it's almost like when the fight or flight kicks in, you're
Hmm.
not thinking. So breath,
Right.
right, again helps us to think, process things a little bit,
Hmm.
regulate a little bit more.
Hmm.
But when we're in that fight or flight, we want to go full force,
Right. Right.
right? So we don't
Right.
have
Right.
time to breathe and calm and regulate and all of that kind of stuff, right? So there
Right.
is a scientific reason as to why we do that.
Right.
But as we learn, as we learn more about the body, learning
Hmm.
to breathe helps us to regulate,
Hmm.
helps us to think through things, to process things a lot better. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. So let me talk a little bit first about, you said why the start of affirmations, why I choose that. Let me talk about Eden
Yeah.
with a smile, right? Because believe it or not, I didn't think about it until you mentioned something to me earlier
Hmm.
about the connection of Eden with a smile as a name and the affirmations itself, right? And it really is, Eden with a smile was just a nickname. As a
Mm.
child, I
Ah.
created a character that was the drawing of a flower with a smiley face in the middle, and I called that flower Happy Dandy because
Ah.
it was a dandelion. And at some point in elementary school or junior high school, I stopped drawing the character and I just simply took the smile and added it to the end of my name. So
Mm.
I have written my name that way since elementary school. And I was at work one day and I said something, and my coworker said to me, "Okay, Eden," with a smile. And I was like, okay, I'm going to take that on. Thank you very much. I love that. Okay. Because it is right, because I
Yeah.
do every time sign my name, Eden with colon and, the end right
I
parentheses.
love
So
that.
that, and literally the intent was, so when you read my name, you had to
Yeah.
smile. right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it's eaten with a smile. So that's how that came
Hmm.
about. It wasn't really necessarily connected directly to the affirmations. It just was
Yeah,
me
yeah,
as a
yeah. So it's
person.
always meant to be then, Eden.
I guess so. It was ordained for me to do it. I
Yeah.
guess. I just never
Wow.
even thought of it. I just never even, because I'm used to it being my name, I just never
Yeah,
thought of
yeah,
it
yeah, yeah,
being
yeah.
how it would be connected with the affirmations. But why affirmations? So I am a person who, I'm also a mindfulness coach. So I'm a
Mm,
person who believes that part of a holistic lifestyle, that you can pay attention to a few things. One of the things is to be mindful of how you're feeling, to be mindful of how you're thinking,
mm-hmm,
and to be mindful of how your body is reacting to the things you're feeling and thinking.
mm,
So, as part of that, one of the things that helps are affirmations. Now, I first was introduced to affirmations back in the early 90s when I started working for a corporation. They actually held courses. They had these personal development courses that you
mm.
could take, right? Training and things. And there was one with an organization called Lou Tice Institute, right? Which was an institute that taught mindset things. I just want to show you something here. I literally still have my folder
Wow.
from that time with the affirmations that I wrote for myself from that
Wow.
time.
Yeah.
I had these for a long time. I would put them up on my refrigerator to be able to see them and use them on a daily basis. But that's sort of how I started to learn about
Mm,
affirmations, was through this particular training, which taught you how to create an affirmation,
mm-hmm,
that you
mm-hmm.
need to have some kind of word that triggers a
Yeah.
picture, right? And then that picture in your mind triggers an
Mm,
emotion. The
mm,
one example, well, the example they used is kind of contradictory to how they also taught me. You also want it to be in positive language.
mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm,
you'll never hear me say the words don't, can't, in an affirmation, because you're speaking that into what you're trying to
mm.
affirm,
Yeah.
right? So they use the word emergency, right? Which pictures danger,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Which then is fear for a loved one or something like that. The way I like to say is think of abundance. Ooh.
Mm, mm-hmm,
When you
mm-hmm.
think of abundance, what are you picturing? I'm picturing mountains of gold coins
Yeah.
somewhere, right?
Yeah.
And then what's the emotion that's tied to that mountain of gold coins? Well, then I have all I need to be able to pay my financial responsibilities. I
Mm-hmm.
don't have to worry about, if I have abundance,
Yeah.
I have everything I need
Yeah.
to be able to handle my bills and whatever else comes.
Mm.
So when thinking of affirmations, that's how I was taught to create them. More recently, when you hear people, at least I've been getting into things like quantum attunement and those kinds of things. And the law of attraction also was a
Mm-hmm.
course I took before the book The Secret came out, which was amazing to me. Again, I learned this at work. I
Right,
literally
right, right,
learned
right.
this at work. And one of the things about that is, right, when you constantly say it, you need to say it with an elevated emotion.
Mm-hmm,
If
mm-hmm,
you
mm-hmm,
say it with an elevated emotion, your brain is tricked into thinking that, wait a minute, did that happen for real? Or is that,
mm-hmm,
and your brain thinks, well, it's definitely going to happen. And so it's a way to manifest as well.
mm.
So you can use affirmations in several ways from my viewpoint, is that you can use them in a space to just pause
Yeah.
and affirm who you are, what you're feeling, what you want to accomplish.
Yeah.
You can also use them as a vehicle to manifest things, for
Mm.
manifestation, right? Because then that's when you want to make sure your affect is elevated and you're really excited about the thing that you're
Mm-hmm,
affirming in your life, that you not just believe it, but that it triggers a happy emotion in you.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So I think they can be used both ways. But for me, those affirmations recently started again because I wanted to offer something to people
Yeah.
in a world, because I don't even want to say it, the world ain't necessarily getting any better. Okay. The challenges that people are facing, particularly in Americas, about what is your lived experience
Yeah.
as far as economically, and what the government is telling you, everything's fine.
Yeah.
There's no real unemployment, though I personally know two people at least who have been looking for a
Yeah.
job for a year, actively looking. There's no problem, and yet people are working 40 hours a week, sleeping in their cars, and washing up in Planet Fitness because they can't afford a place
Yeah.
to live. So clearly, there's a
Yeah.
disconnect
Yeah.
between what we're being told, oh, the economy is
Yeah.
great, and what people are actually living. And I think when you are living in situations where you're not being heard, where you're not being seen, aside from the trauma that it causes,
Yeah.
that there's ways that you can help to navigate. Hey, wait, I'm not crazy that I'm struggling to feed my family, and the food prices have gone up exponentially,
Yeah.
right? And what is it? Kellogg's CEO says, so just have cereal for dinner. This is why I build community
Yeah.
online. I'm getting
Yeah.
emotional. Let me
Yeah.
calm myself down. This is
No.
why I build community
Yeah.
online, because there are so many people who are experiencing these things and being overlooked. They're experiencing these things, and people are saying that's not
Yeah.
reality. And those people need to be heard. I always, in my business, in every area of my life, I give voice. I amplify the voice of the voiceless. That's what I want to do. I want to be able to share with people who may have struggles or challenges, who may be celebrating something awesome, who may feel hopeless
Yeah.
in situations that they don't seem to have any control over. I want to offer opportunities of light.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do with those affirmations. Did I even answer your
No,
question?
you
I went
did.
all over the universe. Okay.
You did answer the question, but also have to tell you that your heart is so pure. Your heart is so good and pure.
Thank you.
And someone just said corporate price gouging must end. And I think
I
the fact
agree.
that, there are so many elements in our lives and in our
Hmm.
world that we cannot
Yeah.
control, but we can control the things and the words that we use for ourselves, right? We
Yes.
control how we use our breath. We can control like so
Hmm.
many things, right? Like how
Yeah.
we choose to even show up in a world that is not always
Yes.
accepting. I feel like that in itself, right, every
Yes.
single day is a win for us. And
Hmm.
offer opportunities of light. So beautiful. And I think that's what you do. And thank you so much for showing up even when the world is hard and heavy,
Yeah.
right? And just
Thank
being
you.
that presence for someone every single day that they come across you,
Hmm.
and they hear an affirmation and they can
Hmm.
receive that and they can use that. And a lot of times too, right? Like we talk about use affirmations, practice affirmations, but you're right. Sometimes we don't have the words,
Right.
right, to affirm ourselves. And so when someone comes across your page and they can take your affirmations and then use that to affirm,
Hmm.
right, and to use it until they can again use it to where they actually believe it or internalize
Right.
it, I think is such a beautiful thing that you're creating
Thank you.
for people every single day. And every
Yeah.
single day you show up,
Yeah.
right, to kind of give a word of encouragement. And I feel like that in itself is invaluable. And it's yeah, thank you with love, Sim. That is so,
Thank
it's
you.
so beautiful that you're able to do that.
Thank you.
um so really quickly, I think you did I love that explanation of like it's not just words.
Hmm.
Right?
It's not.
It's not just words that you're saying or you're
Hmm.
just like, expressing, but there has to be like emotions behind it.
Absolutely.
You have to own the words.
Hmm.
Just before this morning, I was driving and I was like listening to a meditation, and one of the affirmations that the lady was using was "I am loved,"
Mm.
and it could just be so easy to just say "I'm loved."
Yes.
I'm loved. I'm
Yeah.
loved, right? But like I really said it with like meaning, and I thought about my grandmother and I thought about my mom and I thought about
Hmm.
like I really am a loved person. Right?
Yes.
And that
Yes.
like kind of like you're saying with the thinking and the feeling and
Mm-hmm.
connecting those two things,
Yeah.
right? The heart and the mind,
Mm-hmm.
it really does something to you. It
Yes.
changes like how you view what you're saying, how you believe it.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
so there
it's,
is that power in
yeah.
that connection.
And we see affirmations a lot on t-shirts, right? We see
Mm-hmm.
people who just have all kinds of phrases. I meant for one that I didn't get initially was the I am enough.
Mm.
I
Mm-hmm.
never understood
Yeah.
that. I never could get like, what do you mean? Until one day I just sort of sat
Yeah.
down and thought about it.
Yeah.
Like you said, it wasn't just the words that you
Yeah.
said, but you started thinking about
Mm-hmm.
things. Okay, well,
Mm-hmm.
I am enough.
Yeah.
I don't have to do this and
Yeah.
that and this and that. I am enough where I am. And I think that's important for people because we say a lot of words we don't
Mm.
barely even
Oh
think
my
about, right?
gosh. Yeah.
We recite songs and
Yeah.
poems and raps and things that can bring all kinds of
Yeah.
joy and
Yeah.
foolishness sometimes to ourselves. And there's nothing wrong with foolishness,
Yeah.
okay? It brings joy. But I think there's moments in our lives, or even in our day,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
where our words should be intentional, that our
Mm. Yes.
words should carry weight with
Yeah.
them, particularly as we talk to
Mm-hmm.
ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So many of us have so many things, microaggressions that come at us daily,
Yeah.
moment by moment
Moments.
by
Yes.
moment. Okay.
Yeah. Majority
And
of our day is sometimes spent in those environments, right?
yeah, so
Yeah.
how do you not be poisoned
Yeah.
by that? And that's where I think the intentional use of
Mm-hmm.
words, the intentional ability to pause and take a breath,
Yeah.
the intentional and for that's the affirmation part for meditation, the intentional opportunity to focus
Mm.
on maybe how our body
Yeah.
is. What is our body actually feeling? Am I sitting like this while I'm walking and
Yeah.
talking and working? um you know uh, are we focused on, can we focus for a
Mm-hmm.
moment,
Mm-hmm.
right, in doing those kinds of things? And that's where I think our perspective of the world shifts,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Does it solve world peace? No, it doesn't. I'm going to tell the truth. Does it make everything okay and everything is perfect and I live in nirvana for the rest of my days? No, it doesn't work like that
Yeah.
either. But does it give you a moment of connection, right? And for those who believe in the divine or believe in God or source, whatever name you may use, Allah, whatever name you may use, it gives you an opportunity to recharge as well. That's where I think the spiritual practice part comes in, is the recharging that occurs by taking that moment to meditate, to affirm yourself, to affirm the connection, to get creative downloads, to be able then to have the energy, the emotional
Mm-hmm.
energy,
Yeah.
the mental energy to keep going,
Yeah.
to keep going. So that's what my hope now. One of the things about doing the affirmations is, um, I'm very grateful, super grateful, okay, because I've recently hit 10,000. A couple weeks
I
ago, I
saw
hit 10,000
that.
followers. I
Yeah.
was,
That's amazing.
I was blown
Yeah.
away. I was like, huh? I just really, it just shocked me.
Really?
It just really shocked me. And since then, I've already gained another 2,000 followers. That was only 2 weeks ago,
Yeah.
which tells me
Yeah.
again, people are hungry
Yeah.
for connection.
They are.
People are hungry to hear things that are going to provide light
Mm-hmm.
and hope.
Mm-hmm.
And though I try not to look at the numbers, like I said, because I'm a data nerd and I could get really bogged
Yeah.
down and focused on that. My thing that really excites me about the affirmations are people who say simple words like, gosh, I needed that
Yeah.
today.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah.
People who have written me and said, I was in this situation and I saw your affirmation
Yeah.
and things shifted. Had a
Whew.
couple of people who talked about, I was on the brink. of about to unalive myself. And I saw your affirmation. Those are the things that mean something to me. That's important. That's what makes this
Yeah.
so what I see as needed and why I take it very, very seriously.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not haphazard about this at all. I take this very seriously because there is a need for hope. There is a need for
Yeah.
light. There is a need for peace. There is a need for love. And some people don't get that in their homes. Some people don't get people who speak to them in affirming ways in their homes.
Yeah.
They see that online. So if I happen to cross a timeline
Mm-hmm.
and you happen to see something and it applies to what you're doing, I
Yeah.
always say, thank you. I'm so glad it resonated with you
Yeah.
because the message was given just for you. So,
And that's what I'm saying, that it's like it's so simple but so powerful. Like so
hmm
powerful.
yeah.
Um and Queerly Bill Jean said connection and community. And I feel like in so many ways
hmm
that is what you're creating, right? That
Absolutely.
space for people to find that community. And like you said, every single day we're hearing so many negative things, and if for 15 seconds, not even sometimes, right? You can like use the affirmation, you can breathe it in, hold that space for yourself. It changes,
Mm,
right? It changes you, and
hmm
it again, it affirms you as an individual,
yeah.
right? Going back to that, I'm enough, right? I
Yeah.
don't need anything else. I'm
Right.
enough in this
Right.
moment at this very second, and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see Not
Um.
Bosma asked, how do I feel the affirmation?
Mhm.
I say them, but I don't feel them. That is perfect. I love
Yeah.
that question.
Yeah.
Because if it's something you're not feeling, maybe it's not where you are at this time. Maybe
Mm.
it's not resonating
Yeah.
with the things that you need in order to affirm yourself.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. That's not a
Mm.
problem. That just helps you to redirect what kind of affirmations you want to
Mhm.
make. So for
Mhm.
example, if I was making affirmations about overcoming drinking,
Mm.
right, and you don't have problems with drinking, it's
Mm.
not really going to apply to you. But think of the areas in your life where you want to feel affirmed. You want
Mhm.
to boost that area, if you will, right?
Yeah.
And then think of things that will help to affirm you in that. If it's about finding a
Yeah.
job, maybe those are certain affirmations. If it's about having better health, maybe that's another kind of affirmation. Just, I don't know if you heard when I said it before, just use something that is a word
Mm.
that will create a
Mhm.
picture and
Mhm.
especially elevate your emotion
Yeah.
about it. So whatever you get excited about it, that's the key to feeling it.
Yeah.
It's got to trigger a picture that's going to give you an excited thing about
Mhm.
it. Maybe backpedal on that. Find the
Yeah.
excitement. Figure out what the picture is. You want to feel more strong and loved.
Yeah.
Oh, you had your heart
Yeah.
broken. I'm so sorry to hear
Yeah.
that. And I can understand that. That's a deep place of hurt,
Mm.
right? When we've experienced a space or relationship where we've loved someone, but then that person
Mm.
did not love us in the way that we expected, and perhaps didn't love us at
Yeah.
all. That's a very difficult space to be in. So what you can do, if you don't mind me saying, you can take this or not, take a look and sit for a moment with what feelings are you feeling about that? What are the feelings I have? Do you want to feel strong because you felt that you're being vulnerable before sort of caused you to get in the situation that you are now? So kind of separate those
Mm.
two things at first, but talk about how you feel. Identify those feelings, respect them, and say, I see you,
Mhm.
I recognize that.
Mhm.
And then say, how do you want to feel? Is
Mm.
that how you want to continue to feel? Think of how you want to feel. How do you feel when you're loved? What
Mm.
you had some positives out of that. How do you feel when you're loved?
Yeah.
And think of that and affirm yourself in that. If it's the strength has to do with the situation again that you felt vulnerable, think of how can I trust
Mm,
people
mm,
when I want to be vulnerable with them? And if they are not interacting with me in the way I expected, is it me or is it them?
mm,
Right? It doesn't have to be you at all. You don't have to take it on. It doesn't have to be that you felt vulnerable or you felt weak.
mm,
It can be all about them. That's many
mhm,
times the truth. It
mhm,
is really nothing about you as to why that person did it. That's about who they are, what their lived experiences are, what their traumas are, what their cycles and patterns are. And you learn those things as you get to love people. So you don't see it all in the beginning because we all wear those rose-colored glasses
mm.
in the beginning. Everybody's perfect on the first date, maybe the second and the third and the fourth, but then by then people come out of that best behavior and become themselves. So those are ways you felt so powerful and beautiful. Well, my hope is for you is that you will feel powerful and beautiful because you are
Mm,
powerful
mhm,
and beautiful with or without him. It already was in you. You just got connected to those feelings
mhm,
because
mhm,
you were with him. But now you know what they feel like.
mhm.
And now you have the ability to feel powerful and beautiful, even if he's not in the picture.
And thank you so much for that. And I hope it helps, not Basma. I'm wondering, do you feel like it's important for if people are practicing affirmations to do it every day at a certain time, right? Because I think
Okay.
sometimes it can get a little bit confusing with those
Mm-hmm.
kind of messagings.
Mm-hmm.
So what would you suggest?
I really think it's your personality. I'm going to be honest,
Okay.
okay? Because there are some of us who really need, you're very welcome, not Basma. And
Yeah.
I'm sending love and light your way and keeping you in my thoughts because that's a difficult situation.
And thank you so much
But
for sharing that, not Basma. Yeah.
yes, thank you. So I think it's your personality. If you're a person who I call them like the military folks, I get up at 5 o'clock, I don't hit the snooze, and I exercise for 30 minutes, and then I eat breakfast, and then you can
The
do an
5 to 9ers,
affirmation daily at
right?
the
The
same
5
time.
a.m. to 9 a.m. Yeah.
You're the person who will do your affirmation at the same time every
Yeah.
day. You
Mhm.
will, okay?
Mhm.
Uh, I'm not that person, okay? I'm
And
not
that's
that person.
okay. And that's okay.
Exactly. It's
Hmm.
fine if you're that person, then that fits well with you.
Yeah.
I'm the person who has 5 alarms that go off before she gets
Yeah.
up. Okay, I'll just be honest. I press I don't snooze them anymore. I just turn
Yeah.
them off. I have to sort of adjust to getting from awake to getting up. I have to adjust. So I'm not going to have a dedicated time in the morning and then I jump into work and things or happen or whatever. So what I do is I just try to build in times and
Mm-hmm.
paying attention to how my body's reacting,
Yeah.
to paying attention to, okay, it's lunchtime. You know what? I didn't even get a chance today to affirm myself or even breathe. So
Mm-hmm.
now I'm going to do, oh, thank you. Thanks for joining
Yeah.
us. I appreciate
I was
that you were
just
able
gonna
to
say
tune in.
thank you so much. I just hopefully posted that I said thank you to her
Okay,
for joining.
thank you. So I think those people just have to be mindful of at some point in my day,
Hmm.
I want to pause for a moment. And this is why my affirmations are always under 15 seconds. Now, if I'm giving you 3 and 4 at a time, that's going to be a little over, but it's under 15 seconds because all of us have
Mm.
15
Mm.
seconds in a
We're a
day.
day.
All of
Yeah.
us have a moment
Yeah.
to just take a pause and check on
Yeah.
ourselves and affirm ourselves.
Yeah.
And I think if you start being mindful of, okay, how am I feeling right now? And
Mm-hmm.
here's the thing, you can have apps do that for
Mm-hmm.
you. You can set reminders on your phone. You
Yeah.
can, I think I have the Calm app and they'll even say, hey, how are you
Yeah.
feeling? Check in and see how you're feeling. So there are plenty of options for the people who are not the people who, for people like me who
Yeah.
snooze and have 5 alarms.
Yeah.
There's options to remind you during the day, hey, did you drink some water?
Yeah.
Okay, let's drink some water.
Yeah.
Let's do our affirmations. So
I like
that's
that.
how I think
I like that
it
because I feel
helps.
like a lot of times people are just hard on themselves, right? Because they feel
I
like they have to do it at
agree.
a certain time, and if they
Hmm.
don't, then they get into this negative thinking place, and that can
And
also be very
that's
negative,
critical.
right? Yeah,
Absolutely. And that's critical
yeah.
because the second thing you'll hear me say after now let's breathe is make sure you're kind to yourself. Not
Mm-hmm.
Basma, make sure that you're being kind to yourself.
Exactly.
Because when we have these situations, our first critical thoughts are, well, I should have done it differently. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
supposed to do it every day. There's no judgment and no guilt here. You do it as based on your personality.
Mm-hmm.
Some people's personality is very regimented and very, you know, orderly. Some people's personalities are not so orderly,
Yeah.
and that's okay for everybody.
Exactly.
You just choose the path that fits your personality
Yeah.
because there's tools on both ends to help and support you. That's the thing.
And it's also going to allow you to maintain it,
Hmm.
right? If it feels more
Yeah.
organic and more
Hmm.
natural, it's
Hmm.
easier to maintain that practice for
Hmm.
you, right? It's
Hmm.
not about Eve, it's not about Cynthia, it's about you and what works for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you don't have to make them yourself, right? You're welcome to follow me and have the affirmations.
Yeah.
But you also, there are plenty of, there's a newsletter I get called Karma Gaia, Gaia. They have
Mm-hmm.
affirmations in it all the time. Michael Beckwith, who was part of The Secret,
Mm.
has a whole service about affirmations and
Yeah.
meditations.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of sources and resources for you to be able to do those things. So
Yeah.
don't feel like, well, I've got to figure one out and I've got to, take the pressure off.
Yeah.
If you don't have an affirmation, just take a breath. Just literally
Exactly.
check on yourself, how, and then just take a breath. Just take a breath.
And that Asma, your comments sometimes I feel dumb because I let my guard down. I feel like so many times, right, we're so self-critical. And so I love what you're saying in terms of like be kind to yourself, be gentle with yourself. You're constantly having to reassure yourself, right, that it's okay to be gentle with yourself. It's
Hmm.
okay to be gentle with yourself. Now we're gonna kind of go into we were going to do a meditation.
Yes, we are.
So like Eden is going to lead us into a meditation.
Hmm.
I'm really excited about this, but you do every evening, I believe you do.
Oh,
No, not every evening. Mondays? What days?
Tuesday nights at
Tuesday
9
nights. Okay.
p.m. Eastern.
Yeah.
Yes, Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern. I'm live on Instagram doing meditations. And that's the only space. I'm on multiple platforms. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube,
YouTube.
Threads, X, and LinkedIn. But I only do meditations for the Instagram
Yeah.
folks because they really are drawn to it. And Vanya, thank you that I'm your alarm. I hope it goes off well. And I'll be honest, I'll tell you a little secret. I am thinking of creating ringtone sounds for folks to be able to listen
I
to
love that.
affirmations and things like that. Don't tell anybody till I'm finished.
Coming soon, right?
Coming soon.
Come
And not
back. Come back and
Bosman,
share with us when it's done.
I will. I will.
Yeah.
And not Bosman, you will get better. So, what I'd like you to do
Exactly.
very quickly, we're just going to relax wherever you are. My belief in meditation is that you should be able to do it any and everywhere. That's how I was trained by a gentleman who does 1 moment meditations. It doesn't even have to be longer than a minute. And so there's multiple ways of doing it. You can do visualization, you can do just breathing, you can just focus on just relaxing your body scans and things like that. But right now, wherever you're seated, you can sit, just relax, put your feet on the floor, close your eyes for me. And just put your hands, rest them gently on the top of your thighs. And I want you to just close your eyes. And for right now, I want you to envision the place that brings you peace. Okay? I want you to picture a place that brings you peace. For me, that's the beach with the sun shining and the ocean waves lapping against the sand. Now, maybe you don't have a place. You can share the beach with me. I don't mind. Pull up a chair. So, again, close your eyes. And now we're going to take a deep breath in, and then we're going to blow it out of our mouths as hard as we can. So, deep breath in, and then let it go. Now, each time you blow out, you want to envision that you are blowing out the stress and the tension of the day, the things that have hurt you. You want to release them as you breathe out. So let's take a breath in. Now release that stress. Want to really empty your lungs. Let's do that one more time. Breathe in and let it go. Now we're going to just take a moment as we are in those peaceful places. I want you to think of something that makes you really happy. Something that just brings you joy, that even as you think about it, it brings a smile to your face, even as you're thinking about it. It's just something so exciting that it brings you joy. What is that thing that brings you joy? Even if you've been hurt, there's still things that bring you joy. Remember those things. Is it a joke? Is it spending time with family? Is it a great meal with friends? Is it a time that you just felt so special? Is it your birthday? Think of those things that bring you joy. Let's take a breath there and let's release with a ah. You got to smile to say it. Ah. Let's do that again. Take a breath. And now I want you to just focus on the thought that I release my stress, my hurt, my tension. Breath. And I embrace the joys of my life, even in this singular moment. I embrace the joy, the thing that puts a smile on my face. Let's just pause there to think of that joy, because we've let go of our stress and tension, just as if it was lifting off our bodies like steam. It's coming off your body. Let's take a breath there. And we're embracing the thing that brings us joy. And I just want you to say to yourself, I've released the hurt and the stress, and I embrace the joy. Now, I usually take much longer to do this, but I want you to focus on your body. How is your body feeling right now? Do you feel any area there where your muscles are tight, or your eyebrow is furrowed, or your shoulders are up? I just want you to relax your body. Just relax your body and embrace the joy of what you've been meditating on. Embrace that joy while you relax your body from head to toe. Relaxed. Awesome. Now, when you're ready, you can open your eyes again. What a great breath. Now tell me, let me know in the comments or hit those hearts. Did that relax you guys? Are you relaxed in the middle of the workday now on Friday, last day of the week before the weekend? Let us know. Did you find that relaxing? I hope so. I hope so.
I have to concur. That was really good.
You're welcome, now, Plasma. You're
Yeah.
welcome. Awesome. That's awesome. Okay, great. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. Hi, Froggy. I hope I said that right. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm glad that it resonated, that it really helped you to feel relaxed. We all
Yeah.
need that. We all need that. We do.
And the thing about meditations and affirmations is that it doesn't have to be
No?
long, right? It doesn't have to
Mhm.
be a time oriented thing. It can be as short, as long, as sweet as you need
Yes.
it, right? Oh, warm hug from Patagonia,
Yes.
Argentina. Hello.
Abrazos,
Oh,
Marlene
I love
Verduga.
that.
Marlena Verduga. Abrazos.
Big hug.
Hmm.
Yeah. No, that was
Yes.
amazing,
Hmm.
Eden.
But can I point out, like you said,
Yeah,
many people think of meditation, I've got to take 30 minutes. I've got to be able to sit still and quiet for 30 minutes. But I
yeah,
have children running around, and I have a husband or a partner who wants me to make sure I have it, or I have a
yeah.
wife or
Or
a
my
partner
mind just
who,
can't settle, right? There's also that.
exactly.
Yeah,
So it doesn't have to be long. It can
yeah,
be literally 1 minute, just 1 minute. Just take a moment to clear your mind. And if a thought intrudes, be kind to yourself.
yeah,
Okay, I see you thought, thank you. But I'm going to return to thinking on what I was
yeah,
thinking. It's okay. It's
yeah,
okay.
yeah. I love that. Oh, not
Thank,
Basma. Have a nice day. It's been nice to chat and listen to you too.
thank
Thank
you.
you so much for joining us today. And
Yes.
um, what's your takeaways every day when you give away your affirmations or when you receive affirmations?
Mm-hmm,
What are some of the things that
mm-hmm.
affirms you?
Mm. Um, for the takeaway of when I give the affirmations, I feel affirmed when people say, I really needed this. When people say,
Mm,
this was helpful to me, that
yeah,
affirms that I'm on the right path,
yeah,
right? It lets me know that I'm on the right path. And that's why I like to hear feedback. If you say,
mm,
listen, that was trash, okay, I get that. That's fine. It just
yeah,
means it wasn't for you, right?
right,
That's
right.
fine.
Yeah.
Be honest about it. But for me, what I get from the affirmations is strength. It's something
Mm,
that helps me to get
yeah,
through, right? It helps me to pause and take a look at that there's no situation I can be in that I can't find a way to seek hope, light, and peace. There's been plenty of situations in my life that were not easy,
yeah.
and some, frankly, positively
Mm,
traumatic. But even coming through all of those things, I can still do that. And here's the thing, and I don't have to do it by myself. I
mm,
can do it with you. I
mm-hmm.
can do it with others. I can connect with others and say, hey, listen, I've come through this
Yeah.
and I'm still able to say and do this. Here, come, you don't have the strength to hold it up for yourself right now. I'll share the affirmation that
Mm,
I just did, and maybe that will help you to
yeah.
the next step and the next step, because all we ever have to take, to be honest with you, is one small step at a time. That's all we ever have to
Yeah.
take. There's no Capitalism tells you you have to leap up the staircase. Capitalism tells you you should skip steps and do whatever you can, take the elevator or run to the top. But a holistic life is just take one step at a time
Yeah. Yeah.
and be kind to yourself when you're doing it. Because sometimes you'll say, wait, that's not for me. I'm going to take a step back. And that's okay. That's okay.
What would you, or how would you encourage someone who wanted to start doing affirmations or start
Mhm.
practicing them?
Yeah. I think the number one thing you've talked about, don't think that it has to take a certain amount of time for it to be done,
Okay.
because that can be pretty
Yeah.
intimidating. Also, don't think that you have to do it at the same time every day. We talked about do it based on your
Yeah.
personality.
Yeah.
If you need a reminder to tell you, hey, how are you feeling? Check in with yourself.
Yeah.
Then post a reminder. If you don't need it because you're up at 4 o'clock every morning and you can do it then do it then.
Yeah.
So if you have those things, do it. Do it as fits your need and personality, and don't feel guilty if it's not every
Yeah.
single day. Maybe you're only going to commit to, I'm going to do this on the
Yeah.
weekends, or I'm going to do this once a week, or that's okay too, because it's meant to serve you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's meant to
Yeah.
serve
Yeah.
you and support you where you are. And however you feel best supported, then say it as frequently as that. So if you want to get started, just do one.
Yeah.
And then
And the,
once you do one, see if doing another one will help you as well.
I was just gonna say, the easiest way to get started is to join Eden's page.
Okay, yeah.
Right,
Yeah, I've
because
got plenty
every
of them.
day
Yeah.
there's gonna be at least one affirmation that you can
Mhm.
practice, and
Mhm.
that can be a great way to kind of just get you started. Right, I feel
Yes.
like that can be a helpful,
Absolutely.
a helpful way to start. Sometimes you just kind of
Sure.
need something to kind of get you going, right, and then
Mhm.
that can lead you into habit
Yeah.
forming and routines and different things like
Mhm.
that. So
Yeah.
it's a great way. That's why I said that. But just really quickly before we go, how do you take care of yourself so that you can show up for us every single day?
That's a great question. And if I'm going to be transparent and brutally honest, sometimes I'm not taking care of myself.
Got it. Got it.
I just worked a 15-hour day
Did you
yesterday. That was not taking,
really?
I surely
Oh,
did. That was not taking care
yeah,
of myself. So
yeah,
if I'm transparent, I don't always do
yeah.
that. But what I do try to do, which I've learned to do because I am in therapy,
Mhm.
and what I've learned to do is to be kind to myself about it. So, okay, we didn't get that right today. Now let's take a pause. We can still get it right.
Mhm.
And for me, um, that helps me to be
Yeah.
able to take care of myself. I've got to, I'm such a person, again, transparency, that has been driven her whole life since childhood to do everything for other people.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm driven and inspired and creative as I do that. And I will spend hours on end doing it.
Yeah, yeah,
But it is more difficult for me to pause and say, okay, Eden, what about you?
yeah.
And so I'm working on that. I'm working
Good,
on that. I
good.
don't always get it right, but I am working on it.
And we are so glad because we need your cup full so that you can pour into us. Because
Thank you.
every single moment that I come across your page, I'm just I take something away, and I'm in awe of you and what you're doing and how you show up
Thank you.
in this world.
Thank you.
It's so genuine and so needed,
Mm.
and so I really do appreciate you even taking time to do this with me. And I
I'm
want to play with
excited.
you in all of your other playgrounds because I know I want to come on YouTube and do your game night with you.
Oh, you game nights on Facebook. I do that with
Oh,
the
Facebook.
folks.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
okay,
it's
okay.
on
I thought it was on
Facebook, and
YouTube.
it's the third Saturday of every month. And let me tell
We
you,
will have to plan
it's
that. We
it's
will have to
it's
plan that.
foolishness, and it's supposed to be. We all need to
You
laugh,
need
right?
that, right? Like you kind
Absolutely.
of just need that
Yeah,
outlet sometimes. So that's why I
yeah,
love doing things like this. That's why, doing fun
yeah.
things and silly things. That's all
Thank you for
we all need that.
inviting me. I appreciate that.
No, thank you for doing this. And whenever you want to come back, whenever you have your app ready and you want to come and talk about it, please, please
Sure.
do. I think what you're doing is great, and keep doing it. People, because like you said, it's not at the end of the day, it's not about the numbers, right? It's about
Not
like
at
the impact that you're
all.
having on people. And my takeaway from your page is that it's just like it's so simple but yet
Mhm.
so impactful, and every single time I'm just kind of like in awe of just how you show up and how you show up as your authentic self. And you see it, and I thank you for representing that here too, and I do appreciate that about you.
Well, thank you, Cynthia. Now I'm going to quote you. Now I'm going to say, "Hey, Cynthia said I'm simple but impactful."
And
Thank you, Cynthia.
I will write it out for you if you need it. Definitely,
Thank
definitely.
you.
Oh, good. Vanya S World just said _worlds is the thank you, ladies. I had a few aha moments, and
Wonderful.
that's yeah,
Wonderful.
yeah. So, however you want to kind of end us
Mhm.
off, I'll give you the space in the room to do that for us.
Thank
kind
you.
of end it. And thank you so much for coming, and thank you for everybody that kind of stayed around and asked questions and
Yes.
participated. I really do appreciate it. And take it away, Lee.
Yeah. So thank you so much. My one thing I want to leave with today is to make sure that one, that you're kind to yourself today. If you have not been, you still have opportunity, and it can happen more than one time in a day. And the last thing I'll say is what I always say last. Now let's breathe. Let's take a breath. Thanks, everybody. Bye bye.